Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Nigel Springett and I'm a chartered counselling psychologist, and my day job is helping people with Kundalini symptoms from their awakenings. And I work alongside Tara Springett, who is one of the leading authorities on Kundalini awakening. And what I'd like to talk to you today is a little bit about the true nature of the Kundalini. And why is this a topic? Is because you're likely, when you have a Kundalini awakening, to start losing your bearings in terms of understanding what's happening to you. What is really going on? And when you look on the internet, you might find things to do with Kundalini, which maybe suggests that it's a kind of serpent coming up your spine, and various other ideas about chakras and energy pathways in the body. But from our point of view, then Kundalini is best described as expanded consciousness. In other words, you're going to see and experience your life much more intensely than you ever have, and that will include more difficult things that will arise. Your expanded consciousness is going to go into 4 different areas, and it will be, firstly, your own unconscious mind. It's a little bit like, imagine at the back of your house you discover a vast storehouse of weird, wonderful objects and memories and all sorts of strange things. That is your unconscious mind, and it's in this video that I'll be talking more about that. But by the way, there's 3 other areas that your expanded consciousness is going to go into. The first is the unconscious mind of other people, that you're going to be able to look behind their masks. The third is paranormal experiences. So as your Kundalini awakening develops, more and more strange events are likely to happen, new abilities which from a kind of materialist point of view are impossible. And the 4th area is spiritual experiences, much stronger, much more impactful experiences, perhaps with uniting with deities and so on. But let's go back to the core topic of this video, which is your own unconscious mind, this storehouse. And this can be probably the most difficult aspect of the Kundalini awakening. Now, when the Kundalini first happens for you, you're likely to experience a time of bliss, a time of wonderment, where you might come to feel, oh, I've got the answer to life, the universe and everything. I feel so good. There's a kind of elation there. Everything seems so easy, and your past trouble seems so distant. And it's tempting to think that now life is all going to be about spirituality and nothing to do with interpersonal relationships and all the difficulties of that and so on. But and that is, in a sense, you could summarize that idea as the spiritual bypass. The idea that if I just focus on spirituality, then all the neurotic aspects of myself, all the painful aspects of life will kind of fall away, and I don't really need to deal with the knottiness of ordinary life. But unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, the Kundalini doesn't let you get away with that. It's not like you will just have a path of bliss from now on. In this storehouse that will open up, there will be a lot of kind of difficult feelings. So for instance, there will be old memories, and that can be old memories from this life, and depending on your view, some of the material, it could be from previous lives as well. But it can be things that you kind of just live with, happily forgot, that re-emerge with a strong intensity. So it could be things from your childhood where in a way you got to expect that your parents were difficult in certain ways, you know, acting in with a degree of narcissism, and where you were perhaps became very afraid of them, and suddenly that's all back, and maybe it's people who hurt you in some way that you thought you got over, you forgave them, and that was the end of it, and you're happy to forget it all. Well, it's back because those feelings of forgiveness were not as genuine as you thought. And there's so there's going to be a lot of regrets that come back from the past, memories of your faults, everything that you were happy to forget is now, and they're now presented to you with more detail, with more intensity than you've ever experienced. Now, it's not just that. There's also, you'll find that there'll be impulses that you feel are very undesirable. Often we call these antisocial impulses. So it could be strong feelings of rage where you want to smash things. It could be the desire to steal. It could be things that just are taboo in our society. And often we find clients have new sexual desires that come up. Maybe suddenly they were heterosexual and have homosexual fantasies and desires. And some of our clients get very upset about that. You know, am I turning gay, kind of thing. And we've never had a client where that has been true, that they change their sexual orientation through this process. But nevertheless, you're likely to experience new and strange and, in a sense, unwelcomed desires and impulses. Another aspect of this opening up of your unconscious mind are your sense perceptions. And you may find that things that you could tolerate suddenly become super vivid. So for instance, you know, you might live in a town, you might walk down the street and there's litter. And before your Kundalini awakening, you wouldn't even notice this litter. But now you walk down the street and it's just unbearable. And not only the sight of it, but the kind of meaning of it is people who are very egotistical, who are happy to just dump their, in a sense, badness wherever. And you feel that perhaps quite keenly. Or it might be you go into a disco and you always enjoyed loud music and dancing and so on. And now it's just unbearable. The sheer volume of that music just goes right through you, and you need to leave. Another aspect is that you might say, have friends who talk about shopping and the next car and the next mortgage and so on and so on, and now you find that all too trivial, and you develop a kind of hunger for meaning that can't be in a sense satisfied by the ordinary discourse that you find in normal relationships. But another aspect of this opening up of your unconscious mind is all these strange physical symptoms that start appearing. And these might be, these kind of symptoms could be things like internal heat, pressure feelings in different parts of your body, or perhaps ascending energies, that come up through your arms, through your legs, etc. Now, I just want at this point just to emphasize that classically, in the literature, how the Kundalini is represented is this energy coming up from the spine, goes straight to the head. Now, in fact, with our clients who are all experiencing Kundalini awakenings, that is a very unusual occurrence for the energy movements that happen in such a simple, straightforward way from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. It's usually much more complex than that and idiosyncratic. And so if you're finding a more complex, idiosyncratic pathway of your energies, don't think that means you haven't got a Kundalini awakening. You probably have. Now, the main point about these strange physical symptoms, which when they're investigated by the medical fraternity, find that there's nothing overtly wrong, where these actually come from are your emotional experiences that were as part of some relationship you're either having in this life or have currently or have had in this life. And what this is the kind of emotion that's currently unrecognized. So it's like, you could say, is sort of like halfway out of your unconscious mind. It's kind of appearing in a kind of shadowy form that's uncomfortable and difficult usually, and then that with time and work, that becomes clear to you where that all comes from. And that's part of my work and Tara's work with our clients, is to help them, you could say, hear the message that comes from each of their symptoms. And but I would just want to say that don't expect this to be an easy process. Unfortunately, this does come with a certain amount of mental pain, you could say, and that's because in this storehouse things were put there because you didn't want them. And now, in a sense, you need to deal with them, to face them, and to integrate them into your life. So I hope that gives you more of a perspective on what is happening to you. What is this Kundalini about? It is the expanded consciousness. It is that expanded consciousness into those 4 different areas: your unconscious mind, the unconscious mind of others, paranormal experiences, and spiritual experiences. And in this video, I've talked a bit more about your own unconscious mind, what that involves, and what you're likely to experience. And I hope that gives you some sort of perspective on your current experiences. Okay, bye for now. And if you've found this video to be of value to you, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really be thankful for that, and hope to see you again. Bye for now.